SportsRoutes High School Showcase is brought to you by Sleeves. Show off your style on the field, in the gym, or anywhere in Sleeves accessories and wear. Use our code SportsRoutes1 for 25% off your first order. Look good, play good, and be seen up. I'm Pablo Rosero, and this is SportsRoutes High School Showcase. My guest today is Tristan Reaves, former UCF wide receiver, co-founder of Walkon Nation, and current strength and conditioning coach. Tristan, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. I'm blessed. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm here in North Carolina enjoying some time away from Florida. So still this quarantine and everything. What have you been doing during this quarantine?
Actually, for me, I've been very fortunate to continue to do what I've been doing. I'm a trainer in Orlando here at a private facility. Train anybody from beginner youth sports to general population to elite professional athletes. Though during the quarantine we had to do it at a limited, on a limited basis kind of thing. We've been given the okay down in Florida the last probably 2.5 weeks or so to be able to go back to normal. So I've been keeping busy with that, doing our Walkon Nation stuff. It was. We'll get into it as we go, but we go to high schools and colleges, conferences, and stuff like that around the country. We had a couple of gigs get canceled because of this, but it allowed us to kind of lock in at home and work on our business, the quality of our product and the content we're putting out, things like that. So I've stayed busy, man.
That's great to hear. And I know it's a tough time for a lot of people, but got to keep going. And I know for you, and we'll start it like this. You were a walk-on. So what kind of went through your mind in high school, going back a couple of years, that made you want to walk on at UCF?
Yeah, so in high school, my recruiting process was all jacked. Anything that could have went wrong, went wrong. It was tough, and it's funny because UCF was never on my radar at all. Like, I don't know why I never considered it, but it was never even an option for me to go there until they told me they wanted me to walk on. Because, signing day, before the early signing stuff, when I was in high school, there was just one signing day, and that was in February. I didn't sign to go to UCF until like mid to late April.
Yeah.
And then I started school like 6 weeks later in June. So it was very fast. It was a very fast thing. I chose UCF because it was the best combination of what I was looking for. One being proximity to home. I went to high school in the Orlando area. I wanted to stay close to my mom, be able to take care of her however I could. Two being academics. It was a high level. Like my degree would carry weight once I left there. And three, it was still Division I, playing at a high level. It's not a Power 5 program, but I saw potential in the program, and I knew that it would be the highest level of competition I would experience with the other options I was considering. All three of those UCF had the best combination of all of it. So that's why I chose there.
So before we touch on potential, because your time at UCF, they showed more than enough potential. But before we touch that, and since you did start as a walk-on, what was it like earning a scholarship?
It to this day is the thing I'm most proud of so far in my life. I'm sure, once I'm married and I have children, things like that, that'll take the spot. But so far, that's the thing I'm most proud of in my life, because it was so hard, and just the things I had to go through on the field and off the field to get to that point. Like, nothing. It's one of those things that no matter what happens in your life, no one could take away from you, because you earned every part of it. So it was amazing. It was, even to like right now, I'm just getting chills thinking about it. It was such a special moment, because you work so hard for something, you don't know if it's going to pay off or not, and it ends up paying off for you. It was great.
So what was that day like? What was that? What was that day like? What was going through your mind after they told you you were on scholarship?
That day we were finishing camp. It was like one of our last practices, or right before fall semester was about to start. And I had certain conversations with our coach, Coach Frost, about being on scholarship and things like that. But he didn't give me an answer yet. I had a really good camp. I had a really good summer workout. I had a really, really good spring before that. I remember my strength coach kind of tipped me off. He's the one that kind of spilled the beans on, because I was in his office talking to him, and I was just kind of telling him, like, I'm a little stressed out. All this is going on. He's like, I think you'll be feeling better later on tonight. I'm like, all right, whatever, man. So then I'm walking down, it's like West Plaza Boulevard, wherever, right next to the stadium.
Yeah.
And our director of player operations called me. He's like, hey, coach wants to see you in his office right now. So I had an idea, like, okay, this is what it is. It's either Coach Frost is going to tell me I can put you on scholarship, or he's telling me, no, I can't put you on scholarships. But I was very anxious. So naturally, I sprinted over there. Everything I was doing, I went straight to his office, walked in, and he's like, congratulations, you're on scholarship. And I just remember kind of like pacing back and forth in his office, like covering my face, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I'm supposed to cry or scream or jump or hug this man, shake his hand. I told him, thank you so much. Like, he knew how hard I worked for it. He knew where I was coming from. And from there, I kind of faked my mom out. I told her I need to talk to her, because I told her, like, I may end up quitting because this isn't going to work out for me. And I made her come home, and I told her, I was like looking all devastated and sad. And, I'm like, so I'm on scholarship. And she's like, what? Like, it was that was the best part. Seeing the look on my mom's face, seeing her cry, like tears of joy, like it really warmed my heart. Like, it was that moment made it all worth it, because I've seen her cry tears of sorrow, of sadness, and then being able to flip that into tears of happiness. It was amazing.
It just made it a surreal day for you, and so on. And obviously, when it came up, you already started getting emotional. So clearly, it's important. And when we talked before, I told you I thought it was important to have you come talk on this show, because not every kid gets that opportunity to be a 5-star, a 4-star. It's a hard route that there are different ways to do it. And we'll bring it up later with Walkon Nation with your program, but you did it, you got your scholarship. And when you saw potential on that UCF team, undefeated UCF team, what was that experience like playing on that team?
Awesome, because I was also on the team that didn't win a game.
Yeah.
My first year, we were 9-4. My second year, we went 0-12, and then Coach Frost came in and we started rebuilding the program. So being able to be part of when we were pretty good to when we didn't win a game to turning it around and winning that whole season, and then 12 more the next season, like, it was very unique and special. I was able, during my time at UCF, I was able to experience 3 different head coaches, and 4 different offensive coordinators. So a lot of different coaching styles, different takes on culture.
Yeah.
But that season was special, because that was the season I got my scholarship. So, like, all of it was already special for me.
Yeah.
But and I like to tell people that's the reason why we win all those games, because they finally put me on scholarship. But it was
Exactly.
that season was so much fun, man. Every game, every week was like a show, a movie, it was just so fun. So much, like, drama, stress, excitement, work. Like, it was great.
Yeah, and my brother actually, he went to UCF. That was his I think it was his sophomore year, because he just graduated. So we were following UCF. We're from Miami. I'm a big Hurricanes fan, but we were UCF fans that year. We were following the games, and it was awesome to see them, like, celebrating it, him going to
Yeah.
the tailgates. It was awesome. It was a surreal season. And then that bowl game was – what was that bowl game atmosphere like versus Auburn?
Crazy, man. And people got to understand, too, they forget, like, the 2 games before that, because we had, like, 3 games back-to-back that were just intense. Because our last game of the regular season, we were playing USF at home, and that was, like, an instant classic when Mike Hughes returned the kickoff at the end to win the game.
Yeah.
And then the next week, we hosted our conference championship against Memphis, and that went to double overtime. So we're already, like, riding high, like, on emotional high and going crazy. And then we end up hearing our coach is leaving, but he ends up staying to help us win this game and coach us. And then, you know, being at that game at Auburn, being super underdogs, no one even considering us to even be part of the game. We shouldn't even be there, a lot of people are saying, right? And we pull it out. And during the game, it was – I hate to say it, but you had to be there because there was so much stuff going on the field that people don't really notice. So many missed calls, there's missed calls in every game, but, like, you could tell the tables were stacked against us from the jump. Like, nobody wanted us to win. And we ended up still winning anyways. And it was just – it was special, man. It was a statement game, though, you know, because before that, we had gone to the Fiesta Bowl. I wasn't there yet. That was my senior of high school, but we had beat Baylor in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, with Blake Bortles.
Yes, and that, you know, a lot of people called us like a fluke program, like we're not going to do that. But our track record there showed we consistently do this. So this was just another confirmation to the nation, like we're real and we're here.
So they had another 12-win season. You missed your last season, your redshirt senior season. What was that season like for you, dealing with injury, not being able to step on the field, knowing it was your last year?
It was difficult because, you know, like I said, like with my scholarship and everything, I had worked so hard to get to where I was. And that was my 5th year would have been the year I was going to be able to contribute the most on the field. Special teams, on offense, and the rotation, all that. I don't know how big or small a role I would have had, but, you know, I was the eldest in the room of the receivers. I had the most experience. You know, I was the strongest. I was kind of like the mentor to the guys. I was like the old soul in the room, you know?
Yeah.
And I just know how hard I worked in that off season to finally being healthy fully and being able to go full out and all that. And then, you know, it was like our first day of pads in fall camp. I laid out for a ball, landed on my shoulder, and I tore my shoulder. It was disappointing, and it was hard because, you know, you work so hard for something to have it just taken from you like that. But at the same time, you know, I had to take a step back and just evaluate my career. You know, I could dwell on the fact that I'm missing my senior season and this sucks and blah, blah, blah. But I won. You know, a mixed kid with growing up with a single mother, being a walk-on, ended up getting his master's degree paid for in full. Like, I won. Whatever, man. Like, God has blessed me so much. So I couldn't really dwell on it because I had so many blessings in front of me. And that was right when Walkon Nation was about to take off. I was finishing up my degree, my master's of sciences. There's a lot of things going in the right direction. And I didn't want to play football at the next level anyways.
Yeah.
It would have been so much fun to play and be a part of that season, like on the field instead of just watching. But I don't think I would change anything.
So, you know, you got your master's and Walkon Nation. And when I was doing research on you and I knew Walkon Nation was something that I wanted to focus on, I was on the site, and something that stuck out to me was our story on the About Us section of the site. I wrote it down, so I'm going to read it, and it says, being former student athletes, we saw and still see the huge void in holistic development of athletes across the country. Year after year, we saw how unprepared our teammates and fellow student athletes were entering and leaving college. Walkon Nation was created to redefine athletic identity, to ultimately empower student athletes to allow their platform to enhance them, not define them.
Mm-hmm.
So now, in your own words, Walkon Nation, what does it mean to you, and why did you start it?
What it means to me, man, it means giving student athletes a voice. Not everyone has a chance to express themselves, speak out, or be themselves. There's always a hierarchy in sports. You know, there's a pecking order. There's the senior superstar. There's like your All-Americans. There's your starters. Then there's your backups. You know, there's your lower classmen. And then there's your walk-ons. Like every program has different, and not everyone is like that. You know, but a football team is huge. There was over 120 guys on our football team, and we have amazing fans. But the average fan, they couldn't name more than like 7 people on our team. The big names, the superstars, right? But there's way more to the team than that, and there's way more to being a student athlete than just playing your sport. So what it means is empowering student athletes to use what's around them to their advantage, and not just go in and get kicked back out. Go choose to play at a school for whatever sport, get your degree, and then leave, and you haven't really learned anything else but your sport. And if you don't go to the professional league, or you don't, do what you wanted to do, it's just a waste. It'd be a shame to have wasted those years in college just for the sport. So our mission is empowerment. Show the student athletes what you have around you, how you can leverage your platform, your sport, the people around you, your skill set that are not just athletic skill set, but how you can use them to set up whatever it is you are chasing in the future.
So what were the conversations like before this was a thing that you were kind of like, we need to make this. This is so important. And
Yeah.
I know it's important because I've seen student athletes who, they emphasize more the athlete part than the student part, and there's so many unknowns. And from a very young age, I was taught education is the key. Sports, you do it, but you have to focus on school. And I know for a lot of people it's not the same, but
Mm-hmm.
what was kind of like the build-up to saying we need to do this?
Yeah, it was our experiences seeing it. When you see your own teammates, like your brothers that you're with every day, not make it, whether it's because of an injury or they got in trouble or it just didn't work out, they had a bad agent representation, or they just didn't get picked up, like whatever the case may be, they just didn't get it. They didn't get to where they're trying to go. And that's all they had been focused on the last however many years they've been doing it. And to see their sadness and to hear what they're talking about, they don't know what to do now. I don't have anything else but football, or but basketball, but whatever. It's heartbreaking. Like I'm not gonna be in the situation. I know that, but I don't want anyone else to be in that situation. So how can we fix this? How can we change this? What also pushes us in the right direction, I started interning at the Student Athlete Welfare and Development Office, and I brought my partner Mike along too. Like we should do this because we enjoyed it. We like giving back to the community and just getting involved. We both really liked it and like had a knack for it. Like we were good at this. We had a unique perspective too because we were still students, so we got to see from the administrative standpoint what worked and what didn't with the student athletes, but also from a student athlete perspective, what works, what doesn't work, what our teammates would come to, what they wouldn't come to. And then he was my roommate, Mike, my partner. We were roommates, and he came to the table and he's like, "I'm gonna do this. Like we know what we're good at. We can make this curriculum, and I want you to be my partner. I want us to do this." And it was a no-brainer for me. Like I had similar thoughts, but I never said anything or acted on it. And he's like, "Why don't we do this?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, man! Let's do it." And so that night we started like writing things down and brainstorming, and just kept building from there, putting our curriculum together, making connections, putting ourselves out there, trying things, and that's how it got rolling.
What's kind of the number one lesson that you put out that you emphasize more than anything, that this is the essential idea, and once you understand this, then everything just falls into place?
You are enhanced, not defined by your sport. So I played football in college. Because of that, more doors are opening up for me. I have more opportunities now if I leverage this the right way. I'm not just the football player at UCF. Sometimes, and a lot of times really, that's the narrative being told to us and that we accept for ourselves because it's cool or because, whatever the case may be, whatever they're comfortable with, but it's to show you your sport is a tool, is a part of you. It is a way you can leverage and a springboard to your future, to your next goal, to your next job, whatever it is. Not a crutch, not a deterrent.
So my mentor, uh he's a coach right now. He's a wide receivers coach, and I was talking to him, and I told him, I'm doing this episode with you, that you were going to be the next episode I did. And I told him, I thought, and I told you, I think it's so important for kids at this age to understand that you play high school sports, but you never know where that's going to take you and what you can do with it. It's better to focus on your academics and focus on what else you can do. Sports is the way to get your foot in the door, and it's what you can do after. Not everyone becomes that pro athlete that everyone wants to be. And seeing you do it is impressive. And now you're putting your degree to work as a strength and conditioning coach. So I want to transition to that. What has that experience been like now since you've graduated and doing this?
It's been awesome. I love what I do, and I feel very fortunate to be able to say that because it was like during that my senior year where I couldn't play. That's a reason why I wasn't so upset because I knew exactly what I was going to be doing and what I want to be doing, and now I'm able to walk in that and do that. But to your question, I'm a trainer at Better Every Day Orlando, which is a private facility in the private sector in Orlando. Like I said before, we work with all different kinds of athletes, different levels, different skill sets. And it's a family gym too, general population. We have classes all day with our family, and it's amazing. The owners, Trevor Anderson, Amber Anderson, they're a married couple. They own it, and they're just phenomenal people. They took me in as an intern. So I interned there for about 3 months, got all my hours in for what I needed for school. And I asked the professor or the dean, I'm like, hey, can I just start working there? They want to hire me instead of waiting until May. Like, I've fulfilled everything I need to fulfill. He's like, yeah, go ahead. So they took me on. I started working there in March of last year. I've been there ever since. And it's been so cool. All the different athletes I've met, all the different people I've met from different walks of life, and just everything I've learned from TA and Amber as well. It's been an amazing experience.
What stuck out to you the most when you were interning there, and kind of what made you so eager to say yes to the job?
It was actually way before the internship. It was the first time I met them at their facility. I met Miss Amber first, and then I met TA in the facility, and there was athletes around. I saw the place, and it was the energy there. The conversation I had with TA it was clicked in my mind. I'm like, I need to be here. I don't know what it is, but I need to be here. Like, this is a family. These are people that work hard. They have my same values. They're winners. Like, it just felt, everything about it felt in alignment and it felt right. Like, I need to be here. So it was off the rip. I was hooked. Like, I need to be here. So I had to track TA down and really convince him to take me on. But I think the biggest thing I've learned during my internship part was that, people are people. Like, I in that period of time, I met a lot of superstars. I met a lot of, regular folks, and they all act the same. Like, they're people. sometimes we like to put people on pedestals because of what they used to do or what they're doing now. But like, man, they just want to be treated like people. And that's the approach I had, but I almost didn't trust it until I had those conversations with these people, and they're talking to me like, wow, y'all are so cool. Like, y'all are not what TV or make you seem like, you know? So it was really cool to experience that. Like, everyone at our facility is so down to earth and just genuine.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a different vibe from collegiate sports.
It's crazy you bringing up the fact that at the end of the day, people are just people. I started working for Sleeves when I was 17.
Okay.
I started my own like sports journalism stuff, and I got connected with them. They hired me a couple months later, and I got to go travel. I got to meet different athletes, and at first I was kind of in that situation where I'm still idolizing these guys. But then once you start going through it, it's just it's hard to see them more than just like who they are. They do something great. It's great to admire them, but you know, they're people too. At the end of the day, they have their platform, but they just want to live their normal lives also. But and I know you know this. You have friends in the NFL, obviously, from your time at UCF, the people you've met, and it's nice to see that this is something that stays concurrent no matter what.
Yeah.
But with that said, and you being the strength and conditioning coach, what are some important lessons to teach, not just to athletes, but to normal people about strength and conditioning?
That's a good question. Less is more. You know, you don't need to do all these fancy things and have 30 bands tied to somebody and like a Bosu ball and stuff. Those are good tools to use, but at the end of the day, people need to be able to walk in a straight line, have balance, be stable through ranges of motion, and be able to move their body. Like, that doesn't change. God forbid that there's a serious injury where someone's becomes disabled or something like that, that changes it. But like, that is consistent. So really coaching from the ground up as far as that goes, balance, stability, coordination, strength, and then explosion from there. Like, sometimes we get caught up in what we see and what looks cool, and we forget steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We go straight to step 10. We're doing like all these crazy box jumps and all this weight. Like, that's cool that we have the ability to do that, but let's make sure we're doing it the right way so we don't hurt ourselves in the long run. You know, so patience, I would say, as well.
So what would be like the most basic? Like, if I had to guess, like when I started working out, from what I had done football, when I stopped playing, which was my sophomore year of high school, I just kind of stopped working out that much. And when I started again, it was push-ups, sit-ups, squats. But really, what's the ideal basic to start with if you want to build up in a gradual way?
Well, as far as just getting in shape and stuff, yeah, body weight stuff is killer. People really underestimate how much you can do with just your body, whether it's squats, calf raises, push-ups, sit-ups, you name it. I would say for me, I would say flexibility and mobility. So obviously you don't need a whole lot of mobility or whatever to do push-ups and stuff. It's still needed, but let's make sure we can move first. There's a lot of people, you know, who are on their phones like this all day, so their shoulders are hunched, their chest is tight, their neck is all jacked up. So let's fix this and get back to our normal posture first before we start doing anything like that. And I know that's not sexy, you know, that's boring, that's no one really wants to do that, but we have daily motor habits, daily motor movements that we do that are not good for our body. So while we work on our push-ups and stuff, let's make sure we don't forget this part as well. Because a lot of issues people have, you know, headache, stuffy nose, bent stomach. Like, it's cool how it's all connected, but it's kind of creepy at the same time. Like, certain postural reinforcements and fixing things can fix your ailments as well.
Yeah.
So I would say that's the most foundational part.
Yeah. Tristan, I told you when we talked, and I brought this up already, why I thought it was important to have you on. And I think that everything I told you, you exceeded even what I expected from this interview. And I really appreciate it because your story is it's something that I admire, that a lot of people just kind of see. And when we talk about walk-ons, people think Baker Mayfield and, those guys who have had the success that go on to the next level. But you don't think, oh, this guy is a walk-on and he's just there. He got his scholarship. Okay. And then you have the 5 stars who are praised throughout high school, praised coming in, and then somehow don't end up in the NFL. And it's, you don't know what happens to them after. And your story, going from being the walk-on, staying home, getting your scholarship, being part of that undefeated team, getting injured, starting Walkon Nation, working, getting your master's, and working now as a strength and conditioning coach and being happy. It's something that's important for kids to know because it's part of life, and it's always good to have that plan, and it just happens sometimes. And I really want to thank you for joining me. I really think that what you do, we look up to the athletes who are playing in the NFL and everything, but you're someone who people should look up to because of what you've been able to do. And, I really appreciate you for coming on and taking the time to talk to me about it, because it's something I think is important because, I do this because I want to give kids who don't get the amount of exposure, at least the opportunity to get interviewed and show that their accomplishments mean something.
Man, I appreciate that. Yeah, you don't know how much that means to hear that. So thank you for that acknowledgement and those kind words. I appreciate that.
Tristan, keep working hard, and thank you. And Walkon Nation, the site, and everything you do, keep going. And thank you for joining me. I hope to have you on later in the future to talk more about football and just everything in between. Thanks, Tristan.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Thank you.
For more content like this, like and subscribe to our channel below.